Yeah, definitely. It's all those same coverages, fronts. I mean, Seattle does it, Green Bay does it, the Rams do it, Chargers do it, Broncos do it. So there's a lot of teams that play that same style.
You told the Denver area reporters that, with so many teams running your style, there are more defenses that see it during the season. What does that do to you? Does that mean that you have to sort of evolve more quickly, adjust more in a game when there's some familiarity there?
Yeah, I mean, they don't really change much. They have different ways to mix stuff up. So it's all about hitting the right ones versus the right mix-ups. It's more like a Rolodex deal, just trying to hit the right ones and having answers versus the wrong ones. It's always like that. The things that you do to exploit it, when you do it a lot of times, then you see other people do it a lot too. So all that stuff happens, just defense just get better and better at it. So you got to keep pushing on a little.
With Mike McDaniel no longer around, how does that workflow now work as far as scheming the run game? Is Chris Firster, has he just kind of stepped into that role, or are you dividing those responsibilities?
Weeks ago, Brian Fleury's done a good job of it. I mean, Chris is the same as he's always been with it. Chris is a huge part of the run game. The organization and stuff of typing it up and getting all that stuff together, installing it, I have Fleury do that.
With your nickelbacks, is it a game plan thing, like which style Lenore or Womack is better against the matchup, or is it just like, I think you mentioned that Lenore had been playing so well that felt like he had earned that spot. And how do you see that in terms of this week's matchup with Cooper Kupp?
To me, we just felt Demo gave us the best chance to win last week. We thought he was a better player at that time, and we'll see how we feel this week. But it's pretty no more than that.
But is it matchup?
No, it didn't have to do with what we were going against.
When you look at the Rams now, you probably know them better than anybody. How have they changed a little bit with Bobby Wagner in there? What do you see about the defense?
I mean, they don't change much. Just gives them a few more options. Bobby's a middle linebacker who's also a very good pass rusher. So each week they can play him at different positions. It's the same thing they do with Jalen. I mean, Jalen's sometimes a corner, sometimes he's a nickel, sometimes he's their 3-4 edge backer in a nickel front. They do that with everybody. Now they can do it with Bobby. They don't put him at corner, but it's just switching people up, testing your rules, all that stuff, which, it's tough when they have those guys out there, how to mix it up.
Stafford was sacked 7 times in the first week, and then
Who's that?
Stafford was sacked 7 times the first week. 1 each the next 2 weeks. Was there anything significant they changed, or are they just playing better?
No, I mean, I think they went against a real good defense. I think they had to throw it a lot more in that first week. But I mean, Matt does such a good job of getting rid of the ball. Regardless, it's hard to get to him. But anytime you can make teams more one-dimensional, you get a lead like Buffalo did. It's a lot harder to get away without having those sacks.
You can't really obviously replace Trent Williams, but McKivitz did step in last year in the last regular season game and held his own. What qualities does he have that enabled him to hold his own against the Rams?
Just the game's not too big for him. That was such a big game, and we were really hoping we were going to have Trent, obviously. And Trent tried his hardest all the way up to game time, and I just remember when we told Colton he was up, and it was no big deal to him. And he went out there and he performed. It was a huge challenge going against those 2 edge players they had, and he battles all game. Whether he gets beat or not, he's going to be there every play, and that's always gives you a chance.
This is going to be a little random, but with Emmanuel Mosley and Juwan Jennings, when each of them came into the league, they had a bit of an uphill battle. How do you see them help each other improve, and do you think there's anything to the bond that they had as college teammates?
It is random. I forgot they were college teammates. But that makes sense. They're both similar to me. I mean, they're both such scrappy dudes who they just compete every single day. How you guys see them on game day is the same as how I see them in OTAs or training camp or practice today. So they have that same style, and I think that's always been their case, and that's why they're good college players. But that's also why when they're on practice squad, how much they make plays, how they look the same, and to me, that's why they get so much better each day. Every day they're trying to be their best, and you just keep stacking up days, and you don't have setbacks with injuries, and usually those things happen to guys like that.
When you guys are reviewing film of that Denver game, when you see Debo get open a few times and not get the ball, how does he handle that?
He handles it fine. He understands. I mean, there's busted coverages that happen, and people get open. I mean, they busted 2 coverages. It was twice in a bunch. One was Debo down the middle of the field. The other one was Ayuk in the same bunch all alone down the field, but we threw it to George on the other side. They handle that fine. If they understand understand why the quarterback can't see that. You don't have a clicker in your hand, and there's certain ways you're looking at stuff. And now if they were number one and they're ball was supposed to go there, and they were staring at him, and we had the pocket, he would handle it all right, but it'd be frustrating. But that's not the case.
You obviously felt good about Huff going into year 2, but has he exceeded what you thought he could be doing at this point?
We knew he had a chance. He's like this in practice a lot. He's been great all year. And when I look at some of these clips from last year, some of the plays he was in last year making. When we played Chicago earlier in the year, and I think that was Huff's first start, so I got to see him. I watched him this year from Chicago last year. Just watching a Rams game from earlier in the year, he got to play Monday night versus them in the first game last year, so he looks the same. We should have played him a lot more last year.
Take some more.
During the game, good, nice close-up shot on Jimmy after the interception, and amateur lip readers around the country have tried to figure out what was being said there, but clearly he was frustrated. Do you guys have the give and take after the game, the days afterward, where you express your frustrations with him, and maybe he does the same? What's your give and take like after a game like that?
Like it is with one of my friends. Jimmy and I are around each other every single day, so there's not any awkwardness from us or anything that's cut from each other. I don't know the clip you're talking about. I got it on my notes before this press conference, but I'm not a very good lip reader, but I probably won't watch it.
Was there frustration and disappointment after that game between you two then?
At this point,
Just in referring back to the clip, and you said you didn't see the clip, but you'd understand if he was frustrated. Was there frustration between you guys? Just in overall.
there's frustration with our whole team. First of all, the clip to me is a joke, so I can't believe we're talking about it. I'm pretty sure that's not what he said, but we were extremely frustrated from the whole game. Anytime you are doing well in the first half, moving the ball, and you get in the second half and you have 3 turnovers on 3 of your drives, you have a safety on 1, and you don't convert a third down, it's real frustrating to get anything going.
Last night, the win on Monday night against the Rams kind of got you guys going in the right direction and on that run. Do you feel like a win this year on Monday night could kind of do the same thing?
I feel like a win's important. I'd love to get a win, and then we'll see how we play next week.
All right, guys, appreciate it.